Hey folks, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich coming to you with something a little bit different today. This is Renowned Explorers. As you can see here, it is an indie game. And it's been out since 2015. But the fascinating thing about this game is the developers for this game have been putting out these things called weekly community challenges, and I thought it'd be an excellent opportunity to show all of you out there a fantastic, fantastic indie game, while kind of see if I can toot my own horn inside the community. Now, what is this game? This game puts you in the shoes, let's say, actually, instead of a, oops, I don't want to do this. Let me try that, and that, and then that. Okay, cool. This gives you a small crew, in this case, 3 special people. And what your job is supposed to do is you're supposed to go out and make as much renown as possible. I know this doesn't sound like it's going to make a lot of sense to you just yet, but don't worry, I will explain things on the way. So let's just dive in and I'll kind of go through things as we hit them, okay? Alright, let's go. Oh, by the way, I have a Canadian, a German, and what is that, New Zealand, Samoa. Ah, it's present-day Samoa. I actually never knew that could tell you where these people are from. Interesting. Alright, let's get to it. Look at our 3 lovely ladies right there hanging out and doing their stuff. But alright, what is this game? This game is very much like Faster Than Light, as well as mixed with a little bit of Curious Expedition, mixed with a little bit of Skyshine's Bedlam, really with how the game progresses. You can see right here, it is a node-based kind of RPG, and there definitely are some elements of humor. And I'm going to go for things called status, and why am I doing that? Well, this particular challenge, this group, support Viking history with the Vikings of old. We'll get that in a second. Blah, blah, blah. They give you some teaching stuff so that way you know you're actually learning as you're playing a game. Oh, jeez. Okay, wow, you're looking for the longship of the famous Leif Erikson right here? So, cool. We're going to get some campaign stuff out of that. So, first of all, what are these tokens? These tokens give us resources that we spend when we're done with a particular expedition. Green ones give you status. There's another ones that are called encounters, which give you some stuff. And we'll really get into that as we're going forward. But apparently we're going to be gone and getting ambushed by aggressive-looking men. These foreign fancy pants are going to take all of our jobs. Attack! Now, like I said to you, this kind of looks like Skyshine's Bedlam to a certain degree. But before we get too far into it, what are these 3 different things right here? Well, as you go forward, you have 3 different kind of attacks. Green, blue, and red. Representing 3 different traits that you can kind of read right here. And you'll see sometimes, these little tokens next to each of the particular moods. So if you beat the mood, beat the encounter with a particular kind of mood, then you might get a benefit. So in this case, we can get a status token. And like the way I'm going to be playing this as well is really going for as many blues as possible. So you can see right here, these are the 3 different kinds of attacks I was talking about, red, blue, and green. And they can do something called like changing attitudes. But maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. First things first, we kind of have Agatha, the old bat. She's going to come forward and completely and totally terrify a villager. So now he's going to run away from us because he's terrified, which is purely and totally understandable. And his friend's going to do pretty much the same thing. This first encounter is not going to be very difficult. It's pretty, cheap. But cool. We're going to end turn. She didn't actually take him out 3 for 3, unfortunately. No, instead he's just going to smack poor Kiwi back. But she's going to finish things off, we'll be okay. Alright, so we have this whole thing called Devious now. So what do we get out of that? Well, again, we get a token, which gives us status. And we get these encounter things, which gives us status in gold. And our people over here actually get benefits only for this particular expedition for resolving a conflict in a given way. Okay, now, taking a step back for a second, each of our particular characters have these things called perks. And it kind of builds into their particular character what kind of perks they have or don't have. Like Agatha being a scientist, the person that was in the blue row, as you saw, is going to have archaeologist perks. And she's going to be better at certain things as opposed to others. They can show us exactly what that is? No, that's fine. We have ourselves, of course, a diplomat, and since she's the captain of the crew, she also gets these other status things. You can see whenever you encounter and solve an encounter devious, we get campaign tokens, and that's going to be awesome for us because that will allow us to get specialists. Now, what are specialists? Let's try to just do this. Specialists are people who give you different boons as you go out the campaign map. And you can definitely get bonuses for playing in a particular style. And what just happened there, this is one of those things that's kind of like FTL. With FTL, remember how you had an event going on, you have a percentage chance of actually succeeding or failing? It's sort of like that. In this particular game, it actually gives you the chance as to whether or not you're going to succeed or fail. Now, Yvonne's already leveled up, which is not surprising, so she can either become more beguiling, or she can become a rogue. Either way, she's going to get this ability that's right here. I think what we're going to do is that since beguiling it will be pretty strong later on, we're going to make her more beguiling. Now I'm going to move for more supplies, see if we can't get some business going on here. I'm going to restock supplies, so cool, we get 3 more supplies, which means we can travel much, much further. Another thing now, too, something called a campfire story. I realize I am throwing a lot at you guys off the bat, but don't worry, I promise it'll start to make sense the more that you see this game being played. Campfire stories are basically a intermediary. I'm going to keep that for the time being. An intermediary, what you call it? Geez, how can I think what this is called? An opportunity to get bonuses. So in this particular case, we have one that gives a campfire story to give us, more science, which is awesome. Encounter tokens, which gives us gold and status, or campaign tokens, which gives us status. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do study to buff up our early science material, and that's going to be good. So we get 8 more tickets from that. We're going to keep on that one. And actually, discard, and we're going to keep that. What will happen is that we say discard this card to go off to this side, and we'll never see it again. It's not in this particular playthrough. Now, I do believe, we're going to slide over here, pick up some more status. Some kids are playing medieval warriors on the hills. And for some reason, Agatha decides to lecture them and teach them about everything. And these kids, being young and impressionable, are impressed, somehow. So hooray, way to go. This costs us nothing to go there, so we might as well try it. Pretty bored as Yvonne's taking the best step. Plan the next step, and she's picking up pebbles. She manages to find some gold, though, which works for me. Now, like I said, we're going to see if we can't get this pretty much this entire map. It should be okay. And early on, you're not going to see a lot of interesting things necessarily happen too quickly. We go here. Ooh, cool. We might actually find, looks like a broken Viking sword. See if we can find something else. So it's an ancient Viking battlefield. So we can get fame. We can start looking for treasure. Probably Yvonne's freaked out about something. Not sure what. And we get a 33% chance of getting one of 3 different things. In this case, we're getting a Viking helmet. Now, we can get 3 collect, and 3 campaign, or 5 campaign. I am tempted to go for the 3 collect, but I'm going to go for the 5 campaign instead. Just a one-time buff for us. You'll see later on there are some other opportunities to get more and more impressive material. So what is this little symbol right here? This is a wits challenge. So if you see those 3 things next to it, tactician, beguiler, or quick thinker, there's going to be an encounter that's going to rely on one of those 3 things. So case in point, we're going to an open theater, so villagers are going to go and put on a show. So apparently the actor is sick. Anybody want to play the Viking Jarl? It'd be great for the people to see a new face. Now, if I were a betting man, I could give it to any of these people here, 2 or 3 on the bottom. And you can see the chance to succeed and what's going to happen if I fail on there. Meanwhile, Yvonne is just amazing because she's a beguiler, and she gets bonuses from being a speaker, the yellow one. And she gets bonuses from having speech power, and she gets 10% base chance. She's going to do it, and we're awesome. And see, she says she's so great that people are apparently clamoring for our autographs, which is great for us. I think I'm going to go here. Excuse me. And here lies Bjorn Wolf of Mercia, King of Mercia. Under his reign, the Abbey of St. Peter was rebuilt. I'm not sure why I sound almost Transylvanian, but I do. Bjorn Wolf apparently met his ends at the hands of King Egbert's army in 826. May St. Peter watch over his soul. Kind of funny, because about 826, England really wasn't too much of, the Saxons really weren't big Christians. So the grave of an old king, we get some status out of that. Now we have an opportunity to go 2 different directions. One is to go for this unexplored and getting trade here. Or we can go here, which is where we're trying to go to, that big purple zit on the map. And that is going to be ending our particular expedition, well, if we don't want to move onward. But since we've run out of supplies, you can see if we move any further, we're going to get pounded by malices, and it's not a good idea. So we're going to go in here, we're going to go onwards, and we find the intact Viking boat. So we're going to be like, yes, cool, we're going to be amazing, we just got this, right? Nope, never mind. This is our nemesis. This is the French explorer Revellier, whose name I can never say twice in the same way. And that's his crew right behind him. So that's Amir, and that's Cassandra. That's Tommy Gunn. But apparently, he says, oh, look, we've already found it, so forget it. And I need this to really be number one. So I would give it to you, but I think Tommy's going to handle the explanation to this while I just run away with the boat. And so Yvonne is going to try to stop him, but Tommy steps forward and says he needs to explain something to us. Now, you can take a look at Tommy, and Tommy's not the brightest thing on two legs. And unfortunately, even more so, we're only going to be great if we beat the ever-living bejesus out of him. Here's one of those things I was talking about, that if we beat it in a particular way, we can get a buff or a malus to the actual gameplay for us. If we're friendly, he thinks you're nice, and we might not get something out of it. We might get something where we're just, like, if nothing else, we beat the expedition, and that's good. Devious, he doesn't really care, and something bad's going to happen to us. We'll get status, but it's not going to be good. And if we're aggressive and just beat him down, he'll be impressed by us, and he'll give us something. At least in this particular case, he will. So I really do want to be devious, but I can't, which is annoying for me. I'm going to do is just start beating guys down. So, rush on in. We have to watch out for him because he's aggressive. He does tons of damage in a given area. And I know right now you're not seeing a whole lot of really cool little, midget interactions going on between people. But the reason for that is because there's a mini, cinematic that happens every single time you hit someone. And it's funny, don't get me wrong. It changes from character to character. But after a while, it just takes another 5 or 10 seconds. And it's like, okay, I've got to speed this up. Speed this up. Speed this up. And what are these yellow things? These yellow spaces on the map, I think, are called advantageous terrain. So if you are in them, something cool could happen to you. Something good can happen to you. Now, I'm going to move in there. I think she's going to heal every single time she's in that section, which is good. And that's her spirit's going to go up. Spirit, in this case, is like HP. And you want to make sure it stays as high as possible for obvious reasons. I take out this other goon over here, so I'm only taking probably 1 attack per turn. That's good. Yikes. So Tommy has this thing where he hits an entire area, and that's a problem because it hurts. A lot. I wonder if I can deride him. Yeah, we can. We're going to hit deride. And one of the things I should mention right now is that you can shift attitudes throughout a particular playthrough, particular encounter. You can see these bars over here do change back and forth. Whatever the dominant attitude is, that's when you get, that's this ending malice over here, or ending boon, depending on which one. But inside each match, each encounter, you can trade between each of the attitudes. So, for example, he's aggressive right now, so if you do devious, we get a bonus to us. Well, right now already we get a bonus for 25% power there, but if you're devious at that point, we'll get a bonus to our own particular stuff. And now if we're devious and he becomes friendly, he's going to get a bonus against us. Basically what you're trying to do throughout each of these encounters is play off the attitudes as much as possible. And getting rid of Tommy, though, wanting to make sure it's done as quickly as possible because it's really early, and I don't want to go and screw anything up too quickly. So Tommy's impressed. He says, "You're strong, pretty impressive. So you did get this treasure map. Bye." So the Viking ship is gone, which is annoying, but we get some more campaign out of it, which is great. And we have a treasure map, so everyone's going to take a look. So, we have 3 choices now. What do we get? We have a chance to get the Leprechaun, a Drinking Horn, or an Ulfbert Sword. Or a really good chance of getting the Leprechaun. Or a really good chance for getting a Viking Drinking Horn. I'm going to go for a difficult to reach area. I'm going to ignore these upgrades until we get back to London. And we find some valuables. Awesome. And Kiwi, what does she find for us? It is in fact the Leprechaun. Great. So that's going to be good for us. Dang. Alright, so this will be good, actually, since at the end of each expedition, we get 1 more encounter token for every level of Beguiler in our crew. She's got 3 already, so we're going to get 3 encounters every single time we're done, and she can pick up a 4th one later on, when she gets to level 4. So we're going to do that. Holler! So now that he's beaten us back with his stupid Viking ship, we have decided that we're going to go and beat on him as much as possible. And here's the ending screen of this particular one at the moment. And since we were aggressive at the end, people think that we're just going to be aggressive overall. Not how I really want to do things. I want to play through rather deviously, but that's going to be a little more difficult for us. You can see right now, each of the tokens is showing us what they're worth down here at the bottom. So gold, status, a bunch of different things, really. Research, and status and gold. And you also get to see this thing called renown. Renown is going to determine what our end game score is. Right now, it looks pathetic. It's pathetic, and that's okay. And I'm not going to show you guys exactly what the tutorial is. It's way, way too long. But the important thing is now we have a membership, and we get 2 more supplies for that, so that's good. A couple things real quick. I'm going to show you what this map is at the moment, and then I'm going to do some upgrades, and we'll get back to you in just a moment. We're going to ignore this for the time being, because this will be devious rather quickly. What is this? This is called research. Now, research, well, not research, this is a research papers, rather. What you can do with this entire screen here is you can unlock particular fields, and each of these fields will give you an opportunity to upgrade certain things. After the first expedition, you can only do either history or observations, but you can start doing things later on like psychology, engineering, nature sciences. We're probably going to go for psychology, and I actually don't remember if I want to go maybe for observations or history. I might be history. And finishing each one, by the way, it will make us super, super good in the long term. So we'll get back to that in just a second, though. And what are these things down here? So you see this red eye up here. This allows us to earn tokens in each of the cities over here on the outside. So each of the tokens right now isn't really worth that much for us. It's worth some, but just not a ton. You can do getting green ones, you can get gold, or you can just get blue science, and that's going to be great as well. There's lots of things over here. Here's an item shop to upgrade your people's equipment. And entourage. This is what we're really worried about. So these are helpers. Not going to give us a whole lot, but these are specialists, and these will give us an absolute ton. What we're going to try to do, first of all, we're going to pick up this guy right here. And as you move forward in the game, the more specialists we have, the higher our ending score will be for this community challenge. And so basically what we're going to try to do is probably get at least 12 we should be able, and then we'll kind of go we'll go for the rest from there. For the time being though, folks, let me do some upgrades real quick and I'll get right back to you, okay? Catch you in a second. Okay folks, we're back, and let me just take you quickly through what happened here. Like I said already, we have boosted our entourage with having Shark on here, so every single time we finish an encounter deviously, we get more money for it. We also have a couple of helpers here that give us more status from the campaign tokens, and give us more status from encounter tokens. We did have an opportunity to pick somebody else up here, but frankly these are re-rolled every single time you do a new game. So we didn't roll exactly the way I wanted to. I was really hoping to have someone that gives us more status tokens whenever we resolve an encounter deviously, but that's okay, we're not too bad. We're going to be saving all of our insight for right now, waiting until our tokens are worth a lot more, then we'll just do some later boosts. And we've gone for history. So history will give us insight every time we finish an expedition, so good there. And we get a lobbyist as well as 5 campaign tokens, that is. When we're completely done with this one, we'll get more renown whenever we acquire helper entourage, and I promise you that's going to give us a big, big boon in the long term. Let me upgrade this again. Who do we have for Specialist 3? Here's somebody actually I want to get. I want to get Lady Vaduva, so maybe I will spend a couple of our tokens super quick. With luck, we'll roll well, and yep, we'll be fine. Here we go. This is who I wanted to get. So Specialist 3. So whenever we finish an encounter deviously, we will get more campaign and more money. So good, it works for me, right? Works for you. Good, works for everybody. Next thing to do that we're going to be happening is we're going to go and pick our next play area. My guess, we're going to go probably to the Hungarian fort. Wait, what do we... Oh, because we need archaeologist, diplomat, and tactician. And that's the other thing I did. I picked up one other item and I gave it to Kiwi. Kiwi now has the diplomat languages perk, which is good in a certain way. At the same time, also gives boosts to her happy build abilities. In this particular case, her happy ability gives us that green thing. It gives us, the target becomes excited. So if I need to heal somebody, if I need to do something to make him better, I can do so. And we'll get more into attitudes in the next episode. For the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick second, have myself a sip of a good, tasty beverage, and I'll get right back to you guys. So, that's going to be it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in to Community Challenge 44 for Renowned Explorers, and I hope to see you all next time. This is Connorworks signing off.